All right, Dead Space 3 time. I have got Dave Woldman from Visceral Games. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How about you?
Well, not too shabby, not too shabby. E3 is a little chaotic, but you guys are down in an appropriately frosty room showing off Dead Space 3. How's it been going so far?
You know, I've been having a blast. The reception to the game's been great. You know, the ice-cold room has been a relief for the people waiting in line for hours to see the game. Yeah. It's been a real fun time, and you know, we're really excited about being able to show the game after being in development for over a year.
So, I'll tell you this about me. A bigger fan of the first two Dead Space games you will not find. Awesome. So know that. But you guys are making some pretty significant fundamental changes to the action in this one. Sure. Can you tell us about some of those, just what, you know, mechanically in terms of, you know, like ammo types and weapon combos and stuff, and what was the thinking that brought you guys to make those kind of core changes?
That's a big question. So we're doing a whole lot different. The biggest change we're making to the game this year is the addition of optional drop-in, drop-out co-op. What that means is you can play Dead Space like you know and love Dead Space, by yourself, in isolation, with heavy atmosphere, tension, all the horror, everything that you want to know about Dead Space and love about Dead Space. That's there for you. But at any time, dynamically, a friend can drop in and alter the game dynamic, alter what you're doing, experience new story content, new game mechanics, new missions will unlock, and new collectibles. Essentially, the game, as you saw when you were playing the demo, becomes a fundamentally different experience when you play in co-op, but the single player is still there for those who want it. Now, without going into too much detail about what we're not trying to tell, some of the things that you saw were the new addition of human enemies and some of the new mechanics like kinesis rotation. The human enemies bring a whole new aspect of gameplay, and that was driven by our story and our fiction. As the Dead Space universe has grown over the last 5 years, starting with Dead Space 1, then Extraction, the graphic novel, Dead Space 2, the world and infestation of the Necromorphs has gotten global, has gone worldwide, and so people are having experiences outside of Isaac. And so the natural combining of these people with Isaac kind of drove the co-op decision. And it wasn't really reasonable or plausible anymore to have Isaac only by himself on a spaceship in the middle of nowhere, given the direction of the franchise.
So there's no more like Isaac's trying to tell people about Necromorphs and they don't believe him. Like it's a universal pandemic at this point. Like they're out there.
They're out there. You know, after the events of the Sprawl, with that space station being destroyed, the government actually doing their own marker research, the Necromorph threat has started to become more pervasive.
So, I mean, obviously the co-op is there, you know, if you have somebody drop in, there's the second guy, but so you're saying if you don't ever engage the co-op, are you just never going to see that guy? Is he still going to be around? Like, is it going to be an AI guy following you all the time, or will you still be able to kind of keep it as solitary and tense as you want if you want that?
Excellent question. The answer is very straightforward. There is no AI followers. When you're playing by yourself, Dead Space has an expectation of atmosphere and tension, and that might get lost a little bit if you always have a buddy standing next to you trying to follow around, jabbering your ear, saying a bunch of nonsense that you don't care about. But Carver is still crucial and core to what we're doing on Dead Space 3, so he's going to be involved, but involved in a way that's not in your way and won't be actually in with you second to second.
Let's talk about the weapons. I mean, you guys have combined a number of weapons into single units. You've got what appears to be like one ammo type across the game now. Is that accurate? And like what led to that?
So, you know, Dead Space was founded, especially on the weapon front, with found weapons, tools constructed from Isaac. Isaac created his own guns and weapons from what he found in the world. So we're not actually going into a ton of detail about what we're doing, but what you saw in the game, you could just kind of jump ahead as a natural extension and growth of that system. You know, Isaac engineers his arsenal. It's been a fundamental tenet of what we've done, and we're blowing it out to the nines on DS3.
I have a question. You're probably not going to answer it. Can you still rotate the plasma cutter?
If that's what you want, that's what you can do.
All right. I'll ruminate on that one a little while. Multiplayer this time?
Not competitive multiplayer. Again, because of the way we were driving our fiction, cooperative gameplay was the right thing for us to do to make Dead Space 3 the best game. You know, on Dead Space 2, there was a security force on the Sprawl. They had to fight Necros, they had to have that type of interaction because of all the people and all the population. So while that was the right thing for Dead Space 2, we wanted to do the right thing for Dead Space 3 and our fans.
I'm sitting here thinking about your PR information control and what I can actually ask you about that I'm going to get an answer to. I mean, I'm still, you know, I'm pretty invested in the universe at this point. I'm just curious. You said that a few months have passed since the end of the last game. I mean, obviously he didn't just like crash land on this planet directly after that stuff. Like what, aside from the necromorphs getting out there, like in Isaac's world, what has changed? How did he end up in this place?
You know, again, there's a whole lot of fiction we're not going into. The demo that we showed you today is the start of Act 2, and we designed Dead Space 3 in a traditional 3-act structure. So there's a huge amount of story exposition and gameplay that happens before you crash land on Tal Volantis, and that's going to be for you to figure out once we actually release the game.
Okay, so Ice Planet is not the entire game then?
Absolutely not. Okay. It's one of many settings.
Okay. So you know, research facility looking place in an ice area, and monsters that, you know, humans that mutate into different spindly monsters and stuff. Are there any kind of specific cinematic influences here that you guys can talk about? Or?
Not really cinematic influences directly. I mean, the design and creative team that we have at Visceral is, you know, a fan of games, fan of movies, and we take little bits of inspiration from wherever it makes sense for us. But in constructing Dead Space and the Dead Space franchise, we have to do the right thing for us and the right thing for our game. And so, sure, there may be things that look similar, have a little bit of overlap here or there, but that's what happens in the industry that's been around for as long as it has, especially with film. And so, absolutely, we take some influences, we take a little bit of this from here and there, but we got to build a game that's right for us and they're right for you.
Cool. So, I mean, where are you guys at right now? Do you have a target date in mind? Is that out there yet?
That is. We ship February 2013.
Okay. So, I mean, content locked at this point and you're polishing, or you still got tons of stuff left to build?
We got a game to make still, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
We're in good shape without giving too much away, but you know, we have a good 6-month push or so to get to the finish line, and we're confident we'll nail that ship date.
Well, I wish you luck. Thanks a lot for your time.
My pleasure.